Thank you so much for that analysis, Anish. You did prepare that for us. But as Nigeria celebrates 65 years of independence, the spotlight is on the macroeconomic direction of the Tinubu administration. Key reforms in fuel subsidy removal, exchange rate unification, and fiscal policy that shaped the economy, leaving Nigerians to, weigh the gains against the pains. This morning, we review the indicators and ask what they mean for growth, stability, and the future. We have a big panel for this, and we're also going to be, tackling what's playing out with FAAC allocation so far. You did see the analysis there, showing that FAAC allocations, they've been swelling for a while now, and the states have been getting more at this point. And we'll figure out what that's being spent on when it comes to government spending. Definitely, we know what we like to see the government spend on, when it comes to the economy. So to help us unpack all of this, we have right here with me in the studio, Mr. Garba Curfey. He's a MD, CEO, APT Securities, joining me right here in our Lagos studio. We also have a panel join us from our Abuja studio. We have Mr. Paul Alaje, he's a chief economist, SPM Professionals. He's right there in our Abuja studio. Good morning, Mr. Paul. We also have Honorable Mohammed Jamu Yusuf. They will also be joining us later on. We also have Ferdinand Ekeoma, Special Advisor to Governor Alex Oti, Administration on Media and Publicity. They will join us as the conversation moves on. Well, let me start with you, Mr. Paul Alaje. I guess Happy Independence Day. That was yesterday, and I'm sure we're still, basking in the euphoria of Nigeria turning 65. But I'd like to get from your lens now, how do you assess, Nigeria's macroeconomic performance since the Tinubu administration took office?
Thank you so very much. Happy Independence to Nigeria and all the viewers around the world. When we look at Nigeria independence, happy independence from 1960 to date, a lot of things has changed. But so that I don't compare what you have not asked me, you have asked me about His Excellency Mr. President's administration, which started on the 29th of May, 1999 till date. The question is, how do I perceive it? First thing President did, he is a president of reform. The first reform was to remove subsidy. And that, of course, had implication on the economy. The one implication is on price. The second implication is on supply. Thirdly, we have also seen policies around devaluation, which, of course, was flotation of exchange rate. Flotation of exchange rate, again, has implication on prices, which, of course, loads inflation. Remember that subsidy removal loaded inflation. The second one also loaded inflation. But it enables supply and relieves government revenue. Today, according to what your colleague read, government revenue has more than doubled, even tripled. And when I say government revenue, I'm referring to federal, state, and local government. Revenue is now abound, has increased sporadically. The third policy, which of course the implementation is starting first day of next year, is tax reform. These are three major reforms, where we have seen two. Now, we have also seen Monetary Authority made, which of course championed the devaluation, has also come up with a new policy in terms of monetary policy rate, which of course has been sustained up until recent to 27.5%. That was to tame down inflation that was generally high. But this has implications. That was to tame down inflation that was generally high. But this has implication on business community as the cost of borrowing is relatively high, and it also has impact on unemployment. When you put all of these together, the following are what I've seen based on the numbers. One, I have seen that government now has more revenue because of the policies, because subsidizing exchange rate is not there, subsidizing fuel is no longer there. Number two, inflation has generally remained high. A number of percent, but inflation has dropped from 34% to 20.01%. I say you have to say that with a lot of caution. Why? Because the drop of inflation from 34% to 24% was not a natural drop. It was, we call it in economics, base year adjustment effect. We adjusted the base year and the basket, and we saw the inflation drop to 24%. Every other comparison since that time till date is comparing, what's it called now? The base year, the previous base year to the current one. So it's very difficult for us to say whether inflation truly dropped or not. Then thirdly, is the impact of exchange rates. We have seen that, I said to your colleague, Shewon Kimbaloe, that if you are not careful, exchange will get 1,500. That was in 2023. That by March 2024, exchange rate will be 1,500. That 1,500 even happened beyond 1,000 to 1,900 happened by January as a result of the policy. But what I recommended, the good news is that it is what is now being adopted, which is managed float. I saw all manner of counter arguments online and on air where people told me it cannot work. The good news is that we have put it to test. It is what is working. The recent report revealed the amount that central bank used to back the naira. Now, here is it. Most countries back their currency, whether they call it absolute flotation or not. It is, do they have the cover to protect it? The foreign reserve has increased, which is another one, because we have seen some portfolio investment. We have also seen money we have spent to import PMS and other products to Nigeria. And that is why government has to tread with a lot of caution when it comes to the dispute between Dangote and Pengancy. Government must remain non-aligned to any of the party, but ensure that reserve grows, and anything that will bring reserves down is what we should not support. So today, I can tell you that yes, the policy, the reform has its upsides and downsides. It depends on from what part we're looking at it from. By the end of the day, one thing we need to quickly talk about and get to end is poverty that came with the reform. Other than that, is prosperity for government as part of the national income, but it, of course, has left the people with relative poverty. That one is not my figure. It's from the World Bank reports.
All right, definitely talking about those reports, we're still trying to find out what's happened with the last report on multi-dimensional poverty. I'm definitely hoping that number is shrinking. But let me come to Mr. Garba Curfew right here with me in Lagos studio. Definitely quite a picture, painted by Mr. Alaje there. And, it's a mixed bag, so far. We've seen, big reforms. And, a lot of people have had to go through the pains, when it comes to reforms. But it's interesting, yesterday, I got that breaking news about Ghana's inflation rate hitting single digits. And this was a country that hit about 50%. That was in 2022, about early 2023. That's Ghana's inflation rate. And yesterday, they're at about 9.4%. So definitely we're seeing improvement, mega improvement with some countries, when it comes to tackling, inflation. But we've seen some kind of improvement in Nigeria's inflation after rebasing. We're at 20.12% now from the highs of 30. So in your opinion, paint a picture for me what you've seen so far, with this administration.
Well, so far we say so far so good, because we assess the government first from the revenue they source.
Right.
Today, there is no doubt the government distribute a minimum of 2 trillion and even above in the last 2 months. This never happened in the history of Nigeria. And we have seen state, when you look at the allocation and the reallocation, they are getting up to 2 trillion. So there is money and distributed to the state. When you look at the inflation itself, you don't need to be told, go to the common foods. We don't need to be told that the food inflation go down. Seriously, the price of food has gone down seriously. I'm from Katsina, we produce maize. Go and see, you can get a 100 kilogram bag of maize today in less than 40,000. This is something that was trading as high as 90,000. So if you look at it individually, I can tell you it has come down. And we have not yet started the harvesting period. The harvesting periods always come from the months of October, November, December. So what will be the price of the food? We see that the price of the food will drastically go down, and therefore we need even the government to intervene. Because if they allowed the price food to go below the average of the cost, it may discourage the farmer to go into farming next year. Coming back to even the employment, we have seen that now more companies are likely coming up, and we are expecting more production. Before, we talk of Boas men, Dangote's men, and Lafarge. Today, we have Mangal. And Mangal is in productions. And they just came on during this government. And we are expecting more companies to come, because I know that another one is coming around Kebbi. So we are envisaging that even in terms of employment, more outcomes. Don't forget that even in the refinery, they are talking of Dangote because that is the big one they know. Others have their refinery and it is working. Others, they have their modular refinery, they are working. And all of them, they are coming up in to attempt to increase their capacity. What shows you that the economy is going into the right direction. And I can assure you that all other things that are not seen working successfully is just a matter of time. Because nobody envisaged, even the analysts, envisaged that the dollar is likely going to end up with 1,400 from 1,008. Last year we traded dollar exchange at 1,008. Today you are talking of 1,004. That is a serious change. And people are no longer holding currency, foreign currency, in terms of speculation. Because all those that go into speculation from January to today, they have lost their money and they don't want to go into it. They rather look elsewhere. So it shows that the economy is gradually moving in the direction. Only problem we have, the state, despite getting huge resources, they are not putting it into the value for money. Because we need the state to do more that will touch the human being, because they are closer to the mankind.
Right. So, definitely quite an interesting move we've seen on the currency front, when it comes to the Naira. But definitely from 1.8 to 1.4, definitely an improvement. But I know some of us mentally were still trapped around maybe 400 to the dollar, but that 300 to 400, to the dollar. Mentally, some of us are still there. So we still feel the pain, even though we've seen that improvement from 1.8, to 1.4. But let me take this conversation further now. We're also looking at FAAC allocations, and definitely it's been a windfall at this point, as Mr. Curfy said there's more revenue right now. The states are getting more revenue. And to help us make sense of where these monies are going, we have Honorable Mohammed Jamu Yusuf, a special advisor, national, international, and public relations. He's in our Abuja studio this morning. Great to have you on the show, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
And we're also supposed to have Mr. Ferdinand Ekeoma, special advisor to Governor Alex Oti on media and publicity. He's joining us via Zoom, I believe. But, let me come to Honorable Mohammed Jamu. Definitely, we've seen the FAAC allocations from 2024. We've seen the big moves up there. And, the states are getting more money at this point. And definitely, some of us would like to know how FAAC money is being spent. Can you help us paint a picture here? Honorable Mohammed, can you hear me?
On such a topic, on how such monies have been spent. Well, let me tell you, for us in Kano, it was the right call and at the right time, because when we came in, there was so much decay, which we got the opportunity to be able to put it back into perspective. The main core area which we have concentrated upon is the area of education, which the governor declared emergency for the state on education. And I can tell you that our spending for the 2 consecutive years in education, we have been able to have a budget of about 31%, which is far above the UNESCO timeline, which is about 26%. So we had a huge budget, and starting at the lower level, let's say from the primary to the secondary school level, about 73,000 desks starting at that level, about 73,000 three-seater desks were purchased so that our pupils can be able to have where they can be able to sit. And then about 50% reduction was done in the area of tuition for the young boys and girls who are at the tertiary education. And then we were able to have a massive revival of the foreign educational scholarship, whereby over more than 2,000 young boys and girls were given opportunity to go to different countries around the world so that they can be able to go and advance their education at those levels. And apart from that, about 137,000 young boys and girls who registered for NACO. About 136,000 of them were able to sit for the exam, and 103,000 were able to pass with the minimum basic of about 5 credits, including English and Maths, which we can be able to say that is the fruit of the massive investment that we have been able to do in the area of education. And with that, Kano State topped this year's NACO SSCE results, which is a key indicator that we are doing the right investment in the right place. That is for education. For the healthcare, we have been able to do massive investment, whereby at the same time, a lot of hospitals in the state are being renovated, new ones are being built, more health workers are being employed. And apart from the health workers that are being employed, we have been able to do a lot of investment equally in getting the right equipment that can be able to be put in those places that can be able to support the work of the health workers in the state. And the investment in the area of the healthcare has surpassed the 15%, which was earmarked at the national level for investment in the area of the healthcare. That is another area where the Kano State money is being spent. Equally for agriculture, a lot of distributions of free fertilizer has been able to be done to support over 477,000 farmers so that they can be able to go back to the farm and do their farming. And then apart from that, massive irrigation network has already commenced in the state, and dams are being built, especially in different places around the state. This investment is a key indicator that can be able to support us in the area of bountiful harvest in the near future. And then let me come to the area of infrastructure and urban renewal. More than 17 roads in the urban area of Kano State have been earmarked for massive upgrade. Already this works. When you go to Kano from wherever part of Nigeria you are going into Kano, you will see Kano has already been turned into a massive construction site. Everywhere you enter Kano from, the roads, the culverts, and everything are being modernized so that they can be able to meet the standard of the modern time that we are today. And I can be able to tell you that apart from that, a lot have been spent, about 27 billion for massive interchange in the state. And then in every local government area in Kano, 5 kilometers of roads have been earmarked to be able to upgrade every local government so that they can be able to meet up with the reality of the modern times. And apart from that, the Tamburawa Water Works has gotten the key attention of the governor, where a lot of investment has gone in there. And apart from that investment, a lot of pumping machines have been bought. That has improved the water supply in Kano State. And then let me come to one very beautiful area, that is the area of workers. For the workers, the state government, since inception in May 29, 2023, the governor has been able to pay salary as at when due, 25th of every month. That is the day when the salary has been paid for workers. And for one day, for 1 month, there has never been an area or an issue whereby the workers did not receive their payment on time. And then we have unpaid backlog of pension and gratuity amounting to about 48 billion naira. I can be able to tell you that the governor has been able to wipe out a lot of those funds for the gratuity. More than 28 billion naira has been able to be paid to these workers. So these are part of areas where the state government is doing a lot to be sure that workers in the state are happy. And then apart from that, let me tell you, because if I have to, the AKK project, that is the Abuja, Kaduna, Kano gas project, that is one very key area where the state government has been able to put investment and is ready to match the federal government, which at the same time I will want to thank the federal government of Nigeria for that investment of the AKK, even though the project has been a little bit slowed up now, and we are calling on the federal government to be able to talk to the contractors so that they can be able to increase their pace so that that project can be able to be completed.
Okay.
Because the state government has
Honorable,
been able to
Honorable Yusuf.
massive investment in that area so that one AKK project is completed, the state government is going to do its own part so that the industrialization of Kano, we want to take Kano to where it used to be in the 60s, in the 70s. We want to turn around the fortunes of Kano so that we can be able to have massive industries coming back into Kano again. So
Honorable Yusuf, yeah, you guys have been very busy. You've been very busy, you know, for what you've reeled out so far. Quite interesting there, spending on education and healthcare. You did give us, you know, some of the fruits of the spending there on education in the States. And, you know, definitely we're hoping we can also get, you know, a detailed a document showing, you know, some of these, you know, FAAC spending, you know, so that we can actually see them and get the full details. Hopefully the states will start to, you know, publish that, you know, going forward. But so much to unpack. Now let me come to Mr. Ferdinand Ekeoma, the special advisor to the governor, Alex Oti, government on media and publicity. He's joining us via Zoom. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So we're talking about FAAC now, and definitely we've seen a lot of states getting improved revenue at this point. And, you know, from hearing from Honorable Jamu, we see they're spending on education and healthcare. I'd like to get your view on what your state is spending FAAC on. And we've also heard some states, you know, also burdened by debt at this point. And some states are having to, you know, spend some of that windfall on servicing debt. What's the picture in your state?
Thank you. In Abia, of course, our story is public knowledge. An unprecedented history of the deterioration in many areas. So first, the education sector was one of the areas His Excellency the Governor declared state of emergency. And of course, that saw him allocate a whopping 20% allocation, you know, to the education sector. And now, of course, a visit to Abia will convince you that this allocation wasn't just a theory and that the practicalization, you know,
there on media and publicity, and Honorable Mohammed Jamu Yusuf, Special Advisor, National, International, and Public Relations. Thank you both for helping us break the spending down at this time. But I still have Mr. Paul Alaje, Chief Economist, SPM Professionals, right there in the Abuja studio, and Mr. Karfi, Mr. Garba Karfi, APT Securities MD, right here with me in Lagos studio. So I'll start with you, Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul Alaje, you know, definitely we're talking about the FAAC windfall at this point. I would like you to rate some of the state governments now, in your opinion. How are they doing with spending?
Thank you so very much. Clearly, we can see that there's been a lot of improvement in what goes to subnationals from FAAC. Even the federal government has had more in terms of revenue. But from the numbers we have picked, 8 of the 36 states we have seen significant improvement in their infrastructure deployment. Meanwhile, the remaining, I think they've concentrated more on recurrent expenditure as well as agriculture. For many of them, we have not seen so much in terms of impact on health, but we have seen impact on agriculture for some states. Some states, it has been more impact on infrastructure. For FCT, what has been very obvious, among other things, is the impact on infrastructure. So we have seen Subnational implemented some of the infrastructural strike, but this is not ubiquitous to all the subnationals from the states and the numbers that we have picked.
All right, definitely we hope that we can see, better spending going forward. Mr. Garba Kurfi, I'd like to get your opinion, on the FAAC windfall and spending.
Well, actually, when you look at the current position the state and the local government are getting, I can say it's beyond reasonable doubt that they are washed with a lot of fun. Because today, a minimum a local government will get, even the lowest local government will get 600 million in a month. But where is this money? The money is not being spent in the cost-benefit analysis. Today, if you take an average worker, 50% of his money go for rent. I challenge which of the states that have gone into building houses to subsidize these costs, because you must have a living. But you hardly see them doing, especially in the north. They end up constructing high bridge. You don't even have the vehicle to go with the local road. You are now building bridge in billions. Where is the cost-benefit analysis? You go and construct 5 kilometers in a local government city. This money is enough to do 20 to 30 road, so that within the rural area will be able to bring their food down to at the easy way. It's not there. Transportation. Most of the common man now, he is paying much for the transportation. What have they done? You can look at Lagos, they have rail and they have these state buses. But if you go across the other state, nothing on transport. Still the worker will spend much on the transport, much on the rent. He end up nothing. And not only that one, not all the states that implemented the minimum 70%, despite the fact that their allocation has increased by more than 200%.
Right, so quite interesting perspective. The housing, very, very important. We can't be spending money on roads when people don't have shelter and maybe don't even have cars to drive on those roads. So definitely we'll keep tracking, most of this spending, and as the FAAC allocation, hopefully it stays big, going forward and sustainable. But thank you so much, Mr. Garba Kurfi, Managing Director, APT Securities. Thanks for joining me
today
on the show. And also Mr. Paul Alaje from our Abuja studio there. Thank you so much for your perspective, and happy independence to us all at this point. Thank you so much.
Happy independence to us.
All right, we'll take a quick break now. We'll switch gears to financial services right after this. Do stay with us. All right, we're switching gears to financial services now as Nigeria continues to embrace innovative financial models that promote inclusivity, ethics, and fairness. No Takaful Insurance Limited, they've emerged as a trailblazer in the country's insurance landscape. The company recently hosted its surplus sharing and claims celebration 2025. We announced a remarkable 1 billion naira surplus distribution to participants, a clear demonstration of the strength of the Takaful model. To bring us up to speed now, we have Mr. Aminu Tukur as the Vice Chairman, No Takaful Insurance, joining me right here in the studio. It's great to have you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, lady. How are you doing?
Happy Independence.
Thank you. Same to you. Fantastic.
It's another one. So, definitely quite an impressive sharing there, 1 billion. Talk to me about this performance. How impressive is it in your opinion?
I think for us it's a promise met. The model, the Takaful model, is basically the operator, No Takaful, managing these funds on behalf of the participants, who we call, the policy holders, who we call participants. So our responsibility is to ensure that the funds that are contributed are managed, distributed when there's a claim or when claims are paid, and then we invest it. So to be able to consistently, since 2017, to able to consistently distribute this surplus back to participants who have not made a claim over the years, I think for us, in year one, everybody thought it was impossible. But now everybody's just looking forward to the next year, and seeing that, or as the numbers grow higher, or what is the next amount they're going to distribute, or people are even saying, oh, let me even manage my assets well. Let me not have an accident. Let me avoid having an accident so that I can avoid making a claim, so that I can get something at the end of the year. So our policyholders, our participants are extremely happy, and it cuts across the retail side.
So I guess as a policyholder, claim, that's fine. I get my claim. Then if I don't have a claim, I'm not going to feel cheated. I'm still going to get something.
So we call it the win-win model. So you either win by making a claim, or you either win by getting a surplus. Let me make it clear. It's not 100% certain. There's no guarantee that you get a surplus. It depends on a number of factors. But fortunately, every year we've been able to distribute surplus to people who have not made claims. There are a number of things that we have to go through. One of the things is if that year there are more claims than from the fund, then obviously the fund cannot pay a claim. But we've been able to manage that over the years. And people have been receiving this consistently. Like I've said, it cuts across the retail side, the corporate side, the non-governmental organizations who are our clients, who have also gotten these funds consistently.
Quite interesting. And looking at 2023, you paid a surplus of 400 million naira. And that was a time where the economic headwinds were they were heading everyone. At this point, how were you able to achieve that?
I think, alhamdulillah, God has been good to the company. Yes, Nigeria has gone through, or is going through a lot. Just before this program, I know, before I came on, I was watching, and we're talking about inflation. Yes, at that time, we probably peaked inflation at about 36% or so. But I think as well, because of the inflation, it also affected the amount of how much people contributed. We've asked people to look at the value of their cars. A car that you bought at 5 billion 3-4 years ago is no longer 5 million. So of course we'll advise people, look, revalue your car. It's no longer worth, because that 5 million cannot buy that car again today. So it's probably 7-8 million naira. So we advise our participants, look, revalue your car, so that you get true value on your funds or on your assets. So despite the fact that we've had tough years, we've been able to effectively manage our participants. How do we do that? One of the things that we've tried to do for the corporate clients, what we've done is when you have a fleet of cars with us, we go in with partnerships with organizations, we go and train their drivers, okay? And say, look, this is how you should do defensive driving, this is how you should manage your vehicles, these are the kind of things you should do. In addition to that, for people who have buildings and property, we advise them to have fire extinguishers. So it's not just about, look, providing a service, collecting your money and walking away. What we do is a hand-holding relationship. That way we're able to see that, look, these funds are yours. The Takaful or risk fund belongs to the participants. It doesn't belong to no Takaful. So let's all manage it together to get value for that money as a whole. So we just don't walk away. We try and get value for whatever is contributed into that risk fund. So at the end of the year, you should be able to get something decent, reasonable. I have a client who called me and said, oh, Aminu, I've sent you a picture. And I looked at it and it was a picture of a deep freezer. I didn't understand it. So I called him back and I said, oh, I didn't understand this, sir. He said, oh, this is my surplus. This is what I bought from the surplus. My wife is very happy that from my surplus amount, I was able to replace her deep freezer for her.
Nice.
So these are the kind of stories that we're happy to hear. It's not just about the money, but what the money can do.
What the money can do. Quite interesting. The chairman also said that at the 1 billion distribution surplus ceremony there, that this is not just a milestone, but a powerful indicator that, this model, actually works. Quite interesting. But, talk to me about, the strategies in place, because, some people are religion sensitive. How do you navigate that divide?
I think when we commenced operations in 2017, we did have that challenge. But I think we've gone beyond that today. Nigeria today has accepted Islamic finance, or what we call non-interest finance, as an alternative. And what we've been able to tell people, look, is this is an alternative. People say money has no, or currency has no religion. Okay? So what we have been able to do at Nutakaful is to show the value for having your insurance done with Nutakaful. If you know that, look, especially now more than ever, where everybody is trying to get little savings here and there, you're able to say, look, you've given me 100 million naira or 10 million naira as a contribution of premium, and you're getting 1-2 million naira back. Any business manager will say, look, this is something I should look at. So we don't talk about religion, we don't sell religion, we don't sell religious products. What we sell are financial solutions at Nutracaf. In fact, we say we don't offer products, we offer solutions. So we sit down with you within the approved products that we have. We try and tailor the products that we have to give you a perfect solution that will meet your own individual requirements. And we don't have, for various reasons, we don't have the data, or we don't keep the data in terms of Muslims, non-Muslims as clients. But if I look at it as a whole, I'll find out that a significant number of our clients, participants, are non-Muslims. A significant number of our staff are non-Muslims. So we don't look at that. What we do is offer value for money, offer solution, especially in times of risk, where people have to manage their risk. And people are afraid to lose that asset that they've saved so much money for, or they've gotten hard-earned money. So they need that protection now more than ever. And if possible, at the end of the year, you get something back.
Right. Blind to religion.
Blind to it, exactly.
At this point, you did say, if things go well, you get a surplus.
And they've been going well.
And they've been going well.
They've been going
so I guess we can look forward to more surpluses.
I believe so. The way the model works, or the way the regulator regulates that aspect of surplus, we kind of have an idea, because if you observe, we've just paid 2023 surplus, or we've just distributed that. We're not late. It's how the regulator has done it.
Right.
And says, look, you have to wait for every policy taken in 2023 to expire. The last policy of 2023 expired on December 31st, 2024. So you can only do that in 2025. So we've looked at the indication, the surplus amount, the profit, underwriting profit for our general and family, which is our life business, is much more than the 2023. So expect that for 2024, the surplus distribution should be a bit higher.
Fantastic. I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so much for helping us break it down. Mr. Aminu Tukur is the Vice Chairman at Nutakaful Insurance Limited. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, lady. Wish you all the best. And
wish you the best, too. Definitely. So that's the show today. Thank you so much for watching. We're back again at 1:30 p.m. The markets are open right now. It was a holiday yesterday, but it's time to make money again today. We'll give you the details on what's playing out with the markets that we track at 1:30. Thank you for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye for now.